You will always reposition your life to get what you want. This is the secret, right? This is a secret that many people don't think like you can't fool anybody, right? You can't fool anybody when you say, "Oh, I really want to make this decision, or I really want to make this move." We will always do what we really want to do because we're doing it now, right? And you will always create a way to make what it is that you want work best for you, right? So if you want something and you truly want something at this moment in time, like, man, you know what? I really, really want this. This has been consuming my mind. This is what I want to do. This is my focus. If you commit to it, give your all to it, you will always look for ways to figure it out. Now, this is not something where you make a decision and then you don't do whatever it takes to reposition your life to get what you want, right? Where you make a decision, you say, oh, okay, life is going to take over. The universe is going to take over. Everything's going to happen on its own. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about you really wanting something and actually going after it, right? Influencing the future towards a certain direction. Say, this is what I want. This is what I really want. Again, you can't fake this. This is not an affirmation. This is not something you look in the mirror. This is what I really want. We're talking about what you really, really, really want. You will always go for it. You will always do it. And you will always figure out a way to make it work for you. That's something that even when I was the brokest of broke, even when I was the most lost, even when I was living in the Bronx, didn't even know what it is that I wanted to do with myself. I knew one thing, that I will always do what I really want to do. And I can always make anything that I want to make work. I will always create a way to make it work. Now, if I do something, it didn't work, I adapt and adjust until it works, right? Until I reposition myself, until I create a way, until it works best for me, until I will always do it until. Now, what people struggle with, right? What people struggle with most is that they don't have that thing that they really want. They don't know what they really want, especially for themselves, right? If you don't know what you really want for yourself, then every move doesn't make sense and makes sense all at the same time. Think about it, fam. If I don't know what it is that I want for myself, if I don't know what it is I want for myself psychologically, physically, emotionally, or I don't know what the best version of myself looks like or whatever it is, then every move is a questionable move. Every move is a scary move. Every move is like shaky. It's like, okay, is this the right move? Is that the right move? Is that the right move? Is this the right move? You're figuring like you're doubting every decision you make because you don't know who you want to be. And we're not just talking about, again, and I always talk about this, we confuse career moves, right? We confuse what we do for money with how we feel about ourselves. We're talking about us as a human being because once the solid foundation is there, it doesn't matter what you do. You build an entire life on top of the foundation of your mind, right? So when you don't have a clear understanding of, as a human being, as a person, as a man or as a woman, what you want to be and who you want to be, then everything is debatable. Everything, there's doubts. Everything is like, there's no passion. But when you realize, no, this is the direction I want to go. This is who I want to be. This is who I want to become. Psychologically, physically, emotionally. This is how I want my body to look like. This is how I want to feel at all times. This is my mindset. This is how I see the world. This is how I have a strong relationship with the truth, with the facts. That right there, fam. Anything you set your mind to with that mentality, you will always create a way to make it work for you. And for many people, they feel they don't have control over that. They feel they're not in control. They don't feel that they can control how they react and respond, right? They feel like, oh, they're waiting for other people's approval. They're waiting for other people's opinions. They're waiting for other people's validation. They're waiting for other people to, I don't know, give them a stamp of approval. When at this very moment in your life, if you were to take ownership and control over how you react and respond to whatever comes your way, we won't be talking about any of this, right? You won't sit around waiting. You won't be sitting around waiting for, what's the right decision? What's the wrong decision? It's like, I know who I want to be as a person. I'm going to go after it. Right? And whatever it is you want to do, then once are solid with yourself, career moves, you will be willing to do whatever it takes in your career, in your business, in your job. You will be willing to do what it takes for freedom. You'll be willing to do, like, this stuff is not difficult, fam. Listen, it's not difficult. What's difficult is when you're sitting around waiting for things to happen on its own, waiting for things to change on its own. You may not know where you want to be in certain areas of life, but you can look in the mirror and say, you know what, this is the person I want to be. Solid with myself, close with the truth. Taking full control of the things I have full control of. Understanding that a human being will always figure it out no matter what it is you set your mind to. Like, no matter what it is you set your mind to, you will always figure it out. As long as you're passionate about it. As long as you love it. As long as there's purpose behind it. You will always figure it out. There is no doubt, fam, when you really want to do something. There's no doubts. I really want to make this happen. I really, really do. Like, not in a way that's like you're convincing yourself or forcing yourself. No, there's real passion behind the moves you're making. And that right there, you're unstoppable because you will fail. And that failure, you don't see it as something, oh, it's time to quit. You will fail and say, okay, how can we readjust? Right? And when we say quitting, yeah, you can quit something that no longer works to reposition your life. But the overall game, you're still involved in the game. Like, okay, this strategy didn't work. Let me quit that strategy. Let me do something else. This didn't work. Let me quit that. Let me do something. But you're still in the game of moving forward and being the best version of you. For a lot of people, they stay so stuck. They're so confused. They're afraid to make decisions. I don't know what's the right decision. What's the right move? What's the this? Should I go left or right? I don't know. They're waiting on they're waiting on for signs and the universe to give them the sign they need to change or whatever. Instead of taking ownership of the things they have control of. Okay, I'm going to do this. That didn't work. Cool. Let me adapt and adjust. Let me do this. That didn't work. Cool. Let me adapt and adjust. Let me accept the consequences of my choices. And it's very simple. It's very simple. It takes a lot of energy. That's the hard part. The hard part is having the energy to do these things. But all you're doing is solving problems, fam. And a human being will always create its own way when it really wants to do something. How do you think we're able to survive for millions and millions and millions of years? We look at life. We're dropped into this world. We look at life. We're one of the weakest species physically. It's like, yo, how can we eat? How can we survive against tigers and buffaloes and storms and winter and weather? How can we survive as humans? We said, you know what? There's tools, there's what is, and there's my perception of what is. Right? Okay, how can we create shelter? Can you imagine walking in the middle of the forest and be like, okay, there's no shelter. In the middle of the jungle, okay, what we're going to do is there's no shelter. No, we look at trees and it's like, okay, how can we chop down these trees and create something where we can all go underneath so we can have protection of the sun, protection of the weather, protection of the other animals? What can we do? We figured that out. Boom. We created our own little, shelter, our own little, place, our own little place to stay at. What else? Okay, we need food, but how are we going to get food? We have to create tools because we're weak physically. We have to create these tools. Let's create staffs. Let's create knives. How do we create knives, right? We got to sharpen up this rock. How do we sharpen up this rock? Get another rock and sharpen up this rock. Put it on a stick. Grab a stick. Grab one of the strongest sticks so you can put it there. Wrap it up. How do we wrap it up? See that, fam? Do you see how we always solved problems since the beginning of time? Hunting for buffalo. How can we hunt a buffalo? How the heck you get a buffalo? There's no food. What do we do? Is this edible? Is that edible? Think about it. We had to figure things out. Can you imagine the human mind looking at the world and saying, oh, I can't figure it out. There's nothing I can do. I'm the weakest species. I'm one of the most weakest species. My teeth ain't right. I don't have strong teeth, so I can't just bite. I can't bite like a lion. I can't jump high. I can't. But what I have this. I have this, right? And when you have this, you can understand, oh wow, the human mind is so powerful. The human mind is so powerful. It can see things. It can observe. It can solve problems. It can look at trees and say, you know what? How can we take these leaves and these sticks, pack them up all together? We can go under it. Okay, how can we manipulate fire now? How are we going to create fire? Because the other day I walked by, there was this lighting thing, right? There was a lightning hit a tree, and now there's forest fires or whatever it is, and you're like, oh, how can we recreate that forest fire? We can use that for light. We can use that for heat. We can use that for, for trapping, buffaloes. You see how the human mind in the beginning of time, fam, would look at things and say, man, we can really adapt and adjust. Oh, it's cold. How can we use the skin of an animal? How can we take that skin and put it over us? Learning how to fish. Oh, you know what? Let's learn how to fish so we don't have to go and use a lot of our energy just to get a buffalo. What is my point? My point is there's no rule book to this. There's no rule book. You're not just waking up one day, I know how to fish. I know how to get buffalo. I know how to make fire. There's no rule book. Someone had to literally look at this and say, yo, I got to figure this shit out. I got to solve this problem. I got to look for shelter. I got to look for heat. I got to look for food. Literally, you're born into this world and there's no rule book. You don't understand why you are born and there's no blueprint. You follow the blueprint, the blueprint of those who came before you, right? And then you see the flaws in it. If they're limited, you're going to be limited, right? So you accept their psychological limitations. You buy into their philosophy of doing things. You guys get my point? Like, how are you supposed, if your brain wasn't built to adapt and adjust and observe and figure out ways that works best for you, then like, where would we be? Like, we wouldn't even make it up to this point. Right? Like millions of years. We wouldn't even make it up to this point. Because, I don't know, I can't figure it out because, I'm different and my brain is different and I can't figure it out. I got problems. Then that means that a lot of people in the beginning of time who had problems who couldn't figure it out. Do you understand, fam? It's your perception of what's going on. It's the stories you tell yourself. You will always figure it out. Can you imagine not knowing how to fish, how to chase a buffalo, you're not knowing which fruits are edible, what's not knowing what's a vegetable and what's poisonous? Can you imagine being at that time and saying, oh, well, there's nothing I can do. I'm born into this and I'm just here stuck and I'm just here in the corner. I have nothing to do. There's no food. There's nothing. And then sitting around waiting for something. Can you imagine you sat around in the beginning of time waiting for, you're meditating to the universe that food comes out of nowhere? No, it doesn't make sense because you would die. You get my point? You would look, it's like, okay, I'm hungry. That mind is now figuring it out. Yo, what can I eat? Obviously, I can't just eat grass all the time because I did that. I picked up some grass. I ate it. It messed up my stomach. It's like, okay, I can't eat grass. Okay, what's next? What's next? Oh, blueberries? What is this? Blueberries? Cool. They didn't mess up my stomach. It gave me more energy. Cool. I see these animals over here. That's a lot of meat. Let's see if I could, how can I eat that? Then you start eating the animals and you're like, wait a minute, hold on. How do you kill the animals? How do you get the animals? Think about it. A human being in the beginning of time, thinking how there's certain, and the reason why I think about this, because some people can look at this situation and say, okay, Anthony, I get what you're saying, but we're not in the beginning of time anymore. I get it. I am talking about the mind that's able to adapt and adjust and figure things out no matter what's in front of it. It doesn't matter what happens. It figures it out, right? It's like, yo, how can I survive? And that mindset of how can I eat? How can I drink? Where am I going to get my water from? It hasn't rained in days. Where can I get water? Where's the closest river? How can I create a trail from the river here because here's a source of food? I don't want to travel 2 miles when there's no food for water. So how can I get the water to come to me? How can I manipulate fire at any moment when it gets cold at night? How can I manipulate fire? How can I stay cool? You see how the mind just figures things out, and then we create a system, and then after those systems and systems and systems and systems and systems, now we have a nice place with an AC that has all those things taken care of already, right? A nice place with an AC, nice heater, warm. We don't have to figure out those things. So now those survival things are taken care of. Now what do we do? Now what do we focus on? Right? Now our minds is looking for other problems to solve. If you're not solving any problems, you're going to create problems to solve. If you're not solving problems within your own life, in your mind is going to create problems to solve because you're so stagnant. So it's looking, yo, dude, we got to keep moving. What are we doing? We're searching for comfort. We're searching for security. When we're built to solve problems, when we're built to keep moving, we built to adapt and adjust, and we're over here searching to stay still. Do you see this? So if you're still and you're stuck, you're going to create problems. You're going to look at a relationship and say, okay, I want drama because I need some problems to solve. Drama means something to focus on, something entertaining, something to solve. So now I'm going to just create some drama so I can have something to focus on. Oh, I'm gonna bring a situation that happened in the past and bring that in the present moment and then have something to focus on. Because I'm so stagnant, I'm not solving any problems, I'm not adapting and adjusting, I'm not moving forward, and a mind that's stagnant will suffer through fantasy, imagination, disease, because it's just still. I'm still. Okay. Oh, that one guy who did this to me back in 10th grade. Yeah, when I was in high school, fuck that guy. He never apologized to me. Look, just imagine in your head, you're looking around, suffering through imagination. Oh man, what's going to happen with my life in the future? Man, I'm struggling right now so much in my life while you're just sitting here in the present moment. You're sitting here in the present moment. You're not present. You're struggling through memory, imagination. And then can you imagine this? Thinking about, yeah, damn, man, right now there's a lot going on. In my life, I'm struggling so hard. You don't understand. Like mentally, I'm just not in the right place. No, the future is looking crazy right now. Just think about stagnant in the present moment, suffering through imagination and memory, right? Because one is not solving any problems. One is not moving. One is not adapting and adjusting. The same brain that we had in the beginning of time, that brain is still there looking for like, yo, how can we adapt and adjust? It's movement. It's movement. So many people have this illusion of security, this illusion of safety. But when you're stagnant, it's not good for the mind. So what do you do? What do you do, fam? What do you do? You create your own problems. Instead of having a solid vision for yourself and saying, you know what? This is the mountain I want to climb. And I'm going to adapt and adjust until I get to that, wherever it is I want to go. Because the process is the end result. The process. We want to be consumed by something. We must continue to provide value to those around us. Provide value to this world in a real way. Provide value, solve problems, solve other people's problems, and not solve them by, oh, I'm going to give this person, this much amount of money. I'm going to help this person. Like, no, I'm talking about solve actual problems. Teaching people how to fish, not just giving them a fish. Learning certain things about yourself so the problem can come to an end so you can adapt and adjust, moving from environments that no longer serve you. Do we see this, fam? Does this make any sense, or am I wilding out? Am I talking something that's so far gone that I'm not making any sense? The human brain is built to observe, to adapt, to adjust, to understand, to study patterns. These are things that we do. And if we're not doing that within our own lives, then what are we doing? We're literally stuck talking about how there's so much problems going on in this world. There's so much going on. And we're literally sitting here. Our head is looking this way. Head is looking that way. While the AC is blasting. When it's warm outside, the AC is on. You're like, yo, man, I'm suffering crazy right now. This is insane. And sitting here literally in your own mind. Instead of going out there and like, okay, what problems I'm going to solve within my own life? What's the issue? Observing the same way you used to observe when there was real problems going on, right? When you didn't know where you was going to get your next meal. A buffalo wouldn't be showing up for days. Now you got to pick up and move. A bison wouldn't show up for days. There's no fish. Now you got to move. Because there's no fish, there's no opportunities here no more. The blueberries ran out. These trees are not growing anymore. Apple trees are not growing, so now you got to move. See, at those times, it was very difficult. Because you're like, Dad, I don't know where I'm going to get where I'm going to food. It hasn't rained. Where I'm going to get water from. Okay, cool, we could get water from here. Let's move here. Oh, man, we're running out of food. Those were the times where things were like, yo, how can I figure this out? And we always created a way. That's the only reason why we got to this point. Because we made systems that allow us to continue to survive to the next day. Which is why you have your house. Which is why you have the grocery store. Which is why you have the heater. Which is why you have... All these is a result of problems that we had in the past. We had the refrigerator. Because it's like, yo, if I'm gonna kill this animal, right? In the beginning of time. If I'm gonna kill this buffalo to eat, I need to store the meat somewhere. Where am I going to store the meat at? Because it gets raw. It's raw. Obviously, I can't make it raw. I can't eat it raw. So now I'm going to create a fire so I can cook it, so I can eat it. But what are we going to do with the rest of the meat? Because I'm full. We used to dig it up. Maybe dig it up a little bit. Put it somewhere. And when you're digging it up, now the other animals can sense it. Now the other animals is battling you now because you digged up the food. And it's like now they can smell that. And now the other animals is coming after you. Now you got to create traps in order for you to protect yourself from the other animals. But do you see how this is what human beings were doing in the beginning of time? Now we have the nice refrigerator. Now we have a nice home, a nice apartment. Now we have all these things taken care of. But that mind is still there. Your mind is still there. How can you now take this same mentality and look at your life and say, yo, how can I solve the problems within my life? Because that's what I'm built to do. Adapt and adjust, and I will always figure it out. Whatever it is I set my mind to, I will always figure it out. Give me some fire emojis if you're loving this live this morning. If this is making any sense, or am I just wilding out, speaking out my ass, and making no sense at all? Give me some fire emojis, fire emojis, fire emojis, fire emoji. Hey. Awesome. Alright, cool fam. I'm out of here. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm going to upload this today on my YouTube channel, so go check that out whenever you get a chance. If you want to watch the replay of this. Thank you so much. I love you. Have a solid day. Solve those problems. Adapt and adjust. Observe. Make it happen. Different aspects of life. It's beautiful. It's beautiful, man. This mind is powerful. This mind is powerful. Use it. Use it. Don't sit around waiting. You wasn't waiting for buffalo. Oh, please, I wish for buffalo. You was going out there searching for it. Solve those problems in your life. I love you. Peace.